Alex, his patrons. And basically it runs just like a normal blade. So this has normal animation. In the series, they're using pretty much a traditional rotoscope. A few of the scenes are too fast to make out the animations, but so I've kind of done what I could with them. But this uses just a normal Clash. This is all basically normal. The difference is there's a new special ability which you'll choose in the library, and I'll demo at the end of this where it's located. And it's going to use a couple new sounds. But the special ability, what it does is it toggles a Cortosis Clash Mode. Cortosis Clash, when you clash your saber while the mode is active, and you'll be able to set the time for how long you want it active. But if you activate Cortosis Clash, in my setup it's going to be under Special Ability 1. Then if I clash any object, it assumes it's Cortosis and it's going to short my blade out. It's also going to make it so I can't ignite using the button for a period of time, which you also set. But then it will eventually free itself and resolve itself, and you'll be able to ignite your saber. So let me demonstrate it. I'll do it a couple times just so you can see. So right now, pretty much a normal clash. Everything acts normal. I'm going to go activate Special Ability 1. There's going to be a sound effect for when you activate it. Now this can be anything you want. I made it kind of a metallic sound. It's just to let you know you successfully did the special ability, because the special ability actually doesn't do anything except it makes your saber ready for the next clash, which would be a Cortosis Clash. Now, the special ability is a timed special ability, so you can choose how long it's active. So if you activate Special Ability 1, in my case, but I don't clash for a period of time, and then I do clash, it's not going to do it. So this way it's not just like a permanent. So let's go. So that sound was to let me know it's active, and now if I clash, my saber's been disabled. You're gonna get that quick animation. I'll do it a couple times. And now if I go to ignite with the button, my saber won't ignite for a period of time. Eventually, I think I had 10 seconds. There we go. After the 10 seconds or whatever you set up for the delay, it will now work normal, and everything's normal again. But so then I'll go back into Special Ability 1, and now I'll clash again. And again, my saber, there's an animation of the blade dissolving itself, and then your power button will no longer be able to ignite. And this is because of the Special Ability control. It actually prevents it from igniting for a period of time that you set, and then it will reignite. So mine is set, I believe, for 10 seconds. You can set that. All of this is customizable. So how long Cortosis Clash is active, as well as how long your blade is disrupted for. But while you're in normal mode, it's just same old stuff. And then again, Cortosis Clash. And then I'm not going to be able to activate again. There we go. And there is an animation that runs. If you ignite it within a period of time, you'll get a slight disruption of the blade reigniting. It only happened on a couple of the scenes, so I've made it so that's also a timed effect. That one is a fixed piece of code, just because if we give too many variables, it makes it really hard to replicate what's happening. But so Cortosis Clash, it is a new mode under special abilities. You can apply it to any style. I've set it up for the Acolyte styles, but you'll choose it in the enhancement screen, which I'll demonstrate on the actual library. But so brand new ability. It's going to give you unique capabilities. Oh, there's a second sound also, so let me do it one more time. So there are 2 transition sounds, so you'll want to add these to your font, just so that you have the full effect. Now, I just grabbed random sounds, so they're not just like the show, but I'm sure some of the font makers out there are working on Acolyte fonts, so if you guys want to reach out to me, let me know. I can describe to you kind of what the sound should be. But let's go Special Ability one more time. So again, there's a sound for the Special Ability activating. It could be any sound you want. You can even make it a quote. You just have to name it to what the style code wants, and that'll be generated by the library. But that sound tells you you're in Cortosis Clash. Now, Cortosis Clash doesn't have a sound for when it goes out of it, because you're setting that time. By default, I believe it's for about 3 seconds, but you can extend that. But the idea being, you don't want to have it active if you're not expecting it. But so I'm going to go in. I'm in it. That's the sound, and then Cortosis Clash, there's a second sound. So the second sound is the fake ignition. It's that little spark sound you're getting. And that runs, and you can have a couple of those. But then your saber will return to normal. So there's going to be two unique sounds that you're going to want. So one of them for when you go into the mode, and one of them for the fake or the faulty ignition where it's disrupted. So this is coming to phase 3 of my early access library. This will be early access for the foreseeable future. This is a pretty unique style code. But so definitely check it out, and hope you enjoy.
Alright, so here's how to add the new Cortosis Clash special ability to your styles in my early access library. So this is for my early access patrons. This is a brand new ability. So I have set up some styles for the Acolyte series, but this particular special ability actually can be applied to any style. But we'll jump into the Acolyte series. Oops, that's Ahsoka Acolyte. And then I'm going to replicate the one in the demo video, which you can see here. So we'll go into choosing our blade type, and then all we're going to do is we're just really going to set up a special ability. Now you can customize anything you want, and obviously you can add stuff, but this video is just about special abilities. So this will require my prop file. It will require the special ability to define. Special abilities allow for unique interactions as well as unique controls on your saber. So it is required for this. This style code will not work without this special ability. So under special abilities 1 through 4, you're going to have a new option for Cortosis Clash Mode. So Cortosis in the live action series, but also in Star Wars lore, is a unique metal. And it actually can not only block, but it can disrupt and disable lightsaber blades. And we see that in the series. So I've created a new special ability that actually does what we see in the series. And I'll demo it here. The demo video actually shows it, but we're going to choose that as the special ability. Now, this special ability does have some controls to it. First and foremost, the delay. That's how long. So what you're going to do is you're going to be entering this mode, which what it is in the lightsaber battles, when a lightsaber blade hits Cortosis, that metal, it actually disrupts the blade. So how we're going to replicate that is using Clash, but it's going to be a special Clash. So what's going to happen is you're going to use the special ability to tell your saber you're about to clash Cortosis. This way, all the other clashes are going to work normal, right? So I'm going to do my normal clashes. That's all going to work normal. What we're going to do is we're going to enter a mode where our next clash is going to then be told that this clash is actually coming up as a Cortosis clash, and it will then run the Cortosis effect. This delay is how long after you do the special ability does that clash have to occur. So we don't want to have Cortosis mode enabled and then just sitting there permanently. So it is a timed special ability. So the delay is how long after you've done special ability, in this case special ability 1, how long after that do I have to do a clash? And if I wait past that, the clashes will just return to normal. The second value is the time. So the time is how long does the Cortosis effect hold. And what you'll see and what happens in the show is when you do clash your saber against Cortosis, not only is your blade shut off, it's disrupted and it's disabled, but you also can't reignite. So in our case, this refers to the ignition via the power button. So if your saber has a power button, Cortosis Clash, if you clash during Cortosis Clash mode, your saber actually is disabled. You will not be able to use the power button for this amount of time. After this amount of time expires, your saber will return to normal. So how we're going to demo that, now the library acts a little differently than your actual saber, but we can still replicate it. So watch the video of me actually doing it on my saber, but this is how you can replicate it. The last little piece here is size. So when you short out your saber, this is the size of that little spark of that saber being shorted out, and we'll see that as well. But so I've set special ability 1 just like in the main video. So what'll happen now, I'm doing normal clashes, you'll just see the normal clash effect. It's a little washed out, unfortunately, because green's pretty bright. But now when I do special ability 1, I have 3,000 milliseconds, so 3 seconds to do a clash, and then it will actually do the Cortosis clash. So I'm going to hit special ability 1, and then I'm going to hit clash. And you'll see it just disrupted my blade and turned it off. Now, during the next 10 seconds, how we're going to run this is with Prion. So Prion acts a little differently in the library than it does in your actual saber, and that's for all styles. So pre-on effects, if you just hit the power button, it doesn't always run right in the previewer, but in your saber, it actually has a bunch of other controls with it. So we'll do that again. So what will happen if you want to replicate it, I'm going to hit Special Ability 1, I'm going to Clash. My saber is disrupted. Now, this is acting like I'm pressing the power button. And for the next 10 seconds, I'm just going to get that spark. And then after the timer expires, I get an ignition. So this way, it's going to replicate like what we saw in the show, where once your saber is disabled from Cortosis, you actually can't reignite it with the button for a period of time. Again, that's going to be controlled here. So this is a 10-second. This is the defaults I put in. This is kind of from what we saw in the show, although it kind of changes scene to scene. But what will happen is you go into Special Ability 1, in this case, then if you clash within the delay time, so within 3 seconds of Special Ability 1 being active, you will then have a Cortosis clash. So then your saber turns off, and then for the next fixed amount of time, in this case 10,000 milliseconds or 10 seconds, if you press the power button, your saber is not going to ignite. It's going to keep shorting. There are sounds related to this. The style code will give you those sounds. So they're going to be new transition sounds. There's a sound specifically for when you enter Special Ability 1. That's just to let you know that you actually did it successfully, because there's no visual effect. There's no cue that Cortosis Clash is active. That sound can be anything you want. So it'll, in the demo video, I just chose a little metallic sound just so I signified that I was about to hit metal. But it could be anything you want. And then the second sound you're going to set up is going to be your sparking ignition sound. So that's going to be the sound that'll play after. So if I do this, clash, saber is disrupted, the sound that coincides with that small spark animation is the second sound you have to add. And then the size, this is what controls that little spark guy. Oops, and he didn't run anymore. Let me go back. So if you need to change the size of this little spark, that's controlled by the size. And again, it defaults to be, it's depending on the length of your saber, it's about 1 or 2 pixels. But you can adjust that, so you can adjust it how big you want it, depending on how deep your blade is. But the idea is to replicate what we saw in the show, where after you've clashed against Cortosis, your saber is disabled. When you try to push that button and ignite it, it's not going to ignite for a period of time, and then it will return itself. But so that's how you set it up. Everything else is customizable. Everything is editable. One caveat. The size of the Cortosis spark isn't an editable one. Just because the complexity of the style already, if I add too many variables into it, it actually makes it a lot harder to troubleshoot. Long term, I might look to use like the pre-on size or the emitter size as an editable, but for this point in time, it's not an editable thing. So you're going to want to figure that out when you build the style. But you can always come back and regenerate it. But that's about it. So any questions, any issues? This is new code. Just click the questions or issues button and post. It is a holiday weekend, so I'm traveling, but I will peek in on it. I've done a full run through of everything, so it should all be running. But if anything pops up, that's what that link is for. So hope you enjoy.